Good morning. Today is Friday, January 27th. It is about 8:40. Let's get started by taking a look at what news is coming out today. Let's go to today. Okay, so 8:30 we had some numbers come out. We also have some coming out at 10 o'clock with nothing in between. I don't think we should have too much of a slowdown due to the 10 o'clock news. Consumer sentiment is usually um, an interesting one, but nothing that should cause all that much of a need for chop in the morning. Again, could be wrong, but that's that's kind of where it's at for now as far as news goes. Let's take a quick look back at yesterday's trading. Let's see what we did wrong, and I'll review this, guys. I'll review this with you very quickly. I really didn't look at this one yet, so I just have it ready for us. So market opened. We opened in inside inside the balance of the day before. We were expecting if give me 1 second here. So one of the things we were watching for was to see what happens when we get to this microcomposite VPOC. If we can break this microcomposite VPOC and stay above it, we were expecting a nice push up into towards the higher end of the value of the microcomposite that we have drawn on the other chart, which I'll show you in just a minute. So we came in, we started getting this double top here, no divergence. We didn't take any shorts here, and then as we came further higher and we reached this VPOC here, we started getting double tops again. We did get a short here. We did make a quick 10 ticks or so. But we made a mistake. I made a mistake of looking to continue to get short here at this next move here. And the reason I'm calling this a mistake is because at this point we're holding above this microcomposite VPOC, and that was really the spot that we were using as our kind of line in the sand. You know, if we get above and hold above there, we were thinking that it might be a nice push. So even still, so let's just look at what we did. So we did try to continue to get short here at the scaling in basically from here all the way up to the next swing. And really, if we were going to be trying to play the short, we probably should have been trying to scale it even a little higher. But either way, we would have been wrong on that trade. So regardless, so missed this great push here. Now we get to a new high. This new high is sitting right at a former VPOC. We retest this high. Great divergence, great negative divergence, great opportunity to get into a trade here. We once again come back and test this VPOC. We don't have we still do have divergence from even from the most recent high to here and from this former high to here. Still divergence, still a good opportunity to get into a trade using this VPOC as resistance. Now, as we continue to come over, let's take a look at here. If we're getting short in these areas, we do need to take into account one of two things. You're either going to get in your full position because you don't want to take the risk of this entire distance here, or you would have to scale to this entire distance. For me, going from 90 to 24 is just too far to scale, so I would be getting into my entire positions at these near these highs. So two of them would have worked out. And then when we get back to here, we have lost our divergence from most recent high to most recent high. So most likely I might have made a mistake and gone short here. I don't know. I wasn't in front of the screen, but from what we look at, we shouldn't have. Looking at the fact that there is now positive slope on the BBs, we don't have divergence from this high to this high. We should not be getting in trades. We also should not be getting into a trade up here. In fact, more likely, not that I see a long opportunity in here, more likely we should have been looking to continue to get long because of how much distance there was between here and here. But here, where when we come back and we've lost our divergence, okay, so here to here, you've lost divergence. We should be looking for a pullback with an attempt to get long. We don't really get a good one This is not enough. This 8-tick pullback for me would not have been enough to get into a trade. I'm not saying that you guys couldn't or wouldn't have, but for me it wouldn't have been enough. Then we get a nice little head and shoulders here. Let me show it to you. Nice little head and shoulders. Break below this neckline here. Good trade entry. You could have even traded this on the pullback up with starting. Let me clear this off so we can see it. Starting with entries right around this level, knowing you're going to scale to here, knowing you're going to have to scale again with stops above these two. So it would be a fairly large area. So this might have been too much risk for some of you. It might have even been too much risk for me. Let's see where this should have been. So our entries really should have started at about 98 with stops being at 24. Still, for me, it's a little too big. 26 ticks for room to scale, a little bit too big. So I probably would have missed this trade. This is a great setup, though. You know, the pattern of it is a great setup. It just might have happened, you know, too far in no man's land for me to deal with. No man's land, meaning that we don't have enough. We don't have any levels to use as potential stop, potential resistance above us to go short. So, all right. Test the VWAP. Test the VWAP holds. Test the VWAP holds. Two nice trade opportunities there. And now again, as we start climbing our way up, I'm not gonna bother trying to make up some trades here. I really don't see much. Probably could find some, like if we look at it in a little more detail, which I just can't do right now. I do want to get to the homework. So looks like could have been a decent trading day yesterday if you were trading the whole day. For me, it was relatively flat. Had a couple of good trades. Had the one bad trade go against us when that giant move happened. But let's take a look overall where we're at. So we are going to remove. You know, we really burst through this area here, this swing. We retested this swing a couple of times, so I'm actually going to leave that on. I'm going to leave all of these on because we pushed through them really quickly. We have yet to test them from above, so I want to leave those on for now. We're going to add in yesterday's high and low. Swings. Let's also go do the same thing for overnight high and low. This was yesterday's high. We'll get rid of that. I'm going to get rid of yesterday's low. And now let's plot out today's low, high. Okay. And lastly, let's take a look at where we're currently trading, 53.62, 53.61. All right, so $53.61. Okay, so we are opening below yesterday's value. Huge, obvious P-shaped profile. All the volume happens up here, and then it just thins out the whole way down. So definite P-shaped profile. That tends, in a lot of cases, to lead to some types of retracement, move back during the day. Let's see what that did overnight. Let me see what time we're at too. Okay, good. So let's pull this out here. Overnight, we retested the high of day. We had failure there. Let's see. I just want to take a look at this 1597. BB was about 8 at the original. high and way down. So that was nice divergence at that point too. That's actually really, really, really nice. Let's stretch this out to high, place it right. Okay. So we had retest of yesterday's high overnight. That failed. Pushed down. Inventory for the most part is short. This is a little bit more even than we've seen for the last few days. The last few days have been really skewed one way or the other, which has really not helped us much in the morning. It seems to have played itself out throughout the day. So let's see here. Let's go back to our homework chart. 53, 58, so still right in that same area. Okay, so currently we're opening below yesterday's value, and like I said, it is a P-shaped profile. So my initial expectation is going to be we're going to open, and we're going to make a push towards yesterday's VPOC, chop around, turn back down towards microcomposite VPOC here, and make a test of yesterday's, overnight low. That's going to be expectation number one. We're going to watch for that. So expectation number two is going to be the exact opposite of that. We're going to open, start trading our way down towards microcomposite VPOC, test overnight low, hold, push back above, chop around microcomposite VPOC, and make our way back up towards yesterday's point of control, yesterday's VPOC. So that's going to be number two. Okay. Third expectation is going to be we're going to open, make our way up to yesterday's VPOC, chop around, have it hold the support, test yesterday's high, test overnight high, and here it's going to be pretty interesting because if we hold here, then we're going to expect to come back and kind of stay inside yesterday's value. That's number three. Okay, and then we're going to do two more today because there are two other things that I see could happen today. Excuse me. Excuse me again. So open, first we're going to do the upside. Open, test down to VPOC, generate strength here, build up energy for a push up, get to yesterday's VPOC, chop around, maybe retrace a little bit, push up, test overnight high, break, and now start making our way up to upper end of value of this microcomposite right here. Okay, so if we do get above here, especially if we get above here, we got some clear sailing. So we're going to be very careful trying to take shorts at these areas because it's going to be hard to, it's going to be a lot of risk that we're going to be going into at that point. So we'll certainly keep that in mind. And the last, what in the world? Okay. I'm not sure why that happened, sorry. The last expectation is going to be the opposite of this, where we open, we come down to microcomposite VPOC, we stall, we come beneath it, and then we hold it as resistance. And if that's the case, then we can see a push back down into all the balance that we had. Here's former VPOC from another day. Here's a former VPOC from another day. We can see a push back down into this area here. So that's going to be number 5. That's the best I could draw 5. Okay, and I'm noticing some strangely placed lines here. Where in the world does that, what does that equate to? That doesn't exist. That doesn't exist. I know where this is. We drew a microcomposite here that we've taken off, but that went with that. Okay. And let's see, what time is it? Let's move this chart out the way. about 5 minutes. Okay, that's good. So I'm just going to take a minute to multitask again. So it's going to be a little quiet for a minute. Okay. And let's take a look in just 1 second at a potential opening of day type of trade. Oops. All right, so we are opening right near yesterday's close, okay? Opening right near overnight VPOC. So what we're going to look at is going to be initial, if we can get an initial push up towards 53.76, 53.74, 75 in this area, we might be willing to take a short if we get a little bit of slowdown there. Mind you, again, this is a different type of trade. This is not the stuff that I'm trying to show you guys as far as ultimately looking for a divergence, looking for pullbacks to VWAP and middle of day and price action and so on. This is just an attempt to catch momentum at the opening. And you know, after we keep trying them for a couple of weeks, if we see that there's just been no clear-cut way for me to get them right, no problem. We won't do them. I'm not thrilled about how positive the BBs are right now for that particular trade, but I do like, you know, maybe we'll even hold off a little bit. We'll see if we can get a push up more towards upper end of value from yesterday. Remember, this yellow area here in my volume profile is the value area. The value area is defined by where 70% of the trading took place. Here's your VPOC. This red line is a VPOC. That's the most traded price of in this case, the overnight session. It stands for volume point of control. This blue line up here is your value area high. That's the high end of the value area. That's the high end of where the 70% of volume took place. And this here is your value area low. That's the low end of where that 70% of the volume took place. So let's see if we get a quick spike up this morning. Sorry, I just have to read one quick email. All right, let's see what happens here at the open. Got about 35 seconds. All right, so open, quick push down. Okay, so we're coming down to this microcomposite VPOC here. Okay, the line in the sand, so to speak. That's the level that when broke yesterday really catapulted us. Just a refresher. You can see here when we got above this here, we really pushed. So stretch this out again. So it's holding right now. Probably that probably should have been the other idea for the opening trade. I didn't quite think of that one though. Okay, so let's take a look and see what's going to come of this. Okay, pushing down again. Remember, one of our hypotheses, push down to microcomposite VPOC. This is a very very important point. Even if we push all the way down to overnight low, if we hold this area and we can see a push back up from here, then we are then expecting to make a move up towards yesterday's high. If we retrace, so if we hold this area and we retrace towards the middle of the day, opening price would be one hell of a retracement at this point. But if we retrace to middle of the day and that holds, then we're going to want to see the BBs turn down a little bit. We're not going to want to see any positive divergence, and we're going to see if we're going to get a push right back down. But we could be building up energy down here. This could be a move back to what's referred to as the scene of the crime, where the original move started from yesterday. This could be a push right back down there, and giving us a chance, giving the market a chance to build up some energy for another push higher. Nothing really to do for us just yet. Didn't set up for any type of entry. Really nothing for that I saw as a reason to get short right at the open. There's been no pullback. I mean, I can't even consider this a pull. I don't consider this a pullback nearly enough to try to get into a trade. Big push, 45 ticks. This is kind of what we were saying. Big moves tend to get reversed, and it didn't happen immediately, although it did happen yesterday to an extent. You see this, and at the open, you're more likely to see big moves like this. All right, so now here we are at the overnight low, and no longer at the overnight low. A lot of people were looking to get long here with stops beneath. My guess is we just had a little stop run underneath there. Okay, so what we're looking for right now is we're going to look for shit. I'd love to see this stop at some point. Huge opening drive here. Look at this. Huge opening drive. Remember we talked today in the morning about that P-shaped profile from yesterday. Tends to lead to some correction. I did not expect it to happen this fast off the open. Like I said, I didn't see any way to anything to tell us to get short off the open. And there's really been absolutely nothing as a reason to get short since. Really big push down. 67 ticks. Pretty much straight down. So just kind of gotta wait. I'm not a huge fan of missing trades that size, but there was really, like I said, for me, there just wasn't anything to trade off of. So here let's take a look. Let's take a look at what some potential setups are at this point and how we would treat them. Okay, I should probably do this more often. So we certainly need to respect this level, the overnight low, and this swing, as our stops have to go beneath that. Okay, if we're looking to go long. So one of the potential setups is we have a push down, come up, consolidate, push down, and while price is sloping down, we create a positive divergence on the BBs. Okay, so that's one potential setup that we're watching right now. Okay, the other potential setup right now is a push back up, and we're going to start watching. We're going to start watching to get short overnight low up to middle of the day up to this VPOC. So we're going to scale in this area with stop being above that VPOC. So those are the two we're watching for right now. And as I'm saying it, let's see what happens if we can get up here towards VWAP, middle of the day, opening range low. We have all this. I'm sorry, middle of the day is up here. VWAP, overnight low, opening range low. And then we have the middle of the day here. Now keep in mind, still, we have broken below market composite VPOC. We are broken below overnight low. We need to see these hold as resistance now before being convinced that there's going to be a big push down here. Okay, if we come back above it, if we turn it into this, if this comes back up, chops, comes back up, and just kind of floats around here, we're still looking at this as a potential long opportunity. We would change our view to a potential long opportunity at that point. Okay, so very important to see what happens. So we're also going to start paying attention from a price action perspective. We're going to look to see if we set up for any breakout pullback short, breakout pullback long. A consolidation in this point, after we move this big, consolidation down here, which would create divergence in the BBs, would be more a sign of an opportunity to go long for a little bit of a counter trend, a little bit of a correction of this big 67-point move. Normally, if it was a smaller move, consolidation at the end of a smaller move, we would actually look for the opposite. But so we're going to see if we consolidate in this area for a little bit, and we are immediately getting divergence on the 610. If the 987 and 1597 take longer, because they're a slower responding chart. I'm going to draw some Fibonacci's here real quick because I don't like getting short at this 23%. 23% to me is just too close of a pullback. 38% is fine, 50% is fine. And that's kind of where we would be scaling. Okay, so remember I was showing you overnight low up to this VPOC. So in this area here, so that's nice. I just wanted to see where that 23% line was. And with the proper setup, we might actually be looking to trade both sides of this, and I'll show you what I mean. If we do pull back enough for us to start getting into some trades, if we do pull back enough, and I'm actually going to start putting some trades out here, so give me 1 second. So 35. I'm going to start putting some orders out here. We want our stop to be at, I'm going to say at about 40. So we're going to do 22. Ended at 34. And just kind of split the difference for a scale. Now you'll see we have divergence on the 610. We have a little bit of divergence on the 987. We have a flattening out on the 1597. So no divergence down there yet. Let's take a look at what's beneath us. We have this swing here, and the next one down there is about 16 ticks away. So if we were looking to potentially get into a long trade, we'd have to be awfully careful. We don't have great positioning right now for stops. What we would probably need to do, number one, we need to see the 1597 kind of come in our favor, which right now it's not. But number two is we'd really like to scale initially. I would look at this as a place to potentially scale from 04 to 92. This would be my scaling entry down to the overnight low, which coincides with this swing here. I should make more precise. If I'm trying to get long from the current low of day, which, honestly, I just can't. If I tried to get long here, I'd really want to take my full position and keep a stop really tight to it, because this is not enough for me. This is not enough of a level for me to say that I want to use as my stop. I really want to get this next VPOC down below us. Sorry, let me stop that from happening for now. I really want to be able to use this next VPOC down below us as some stop, as a level to potentially stop the price from going down there. Let me go back to this chart here. Let's bring this in. So what I'm saying is I want to be awfully careful, because below here, from 93, it's 15, 16 ticks before any other level. And then we get a little congestion down here. So I'm really hesitant about taking a long in this area unless it sets up really nicely. And if it does, then what I would be doing is I'd be looking to get into my full position around here, full position with a really tight stop below it. So if it does push through. You'll see how we've created this really sharp decline in volume here to here. Okay, VPOC has shifted down here to 13 cents. So this might act as resistance. It's it's really not enough for me to want to get in here because like I said, I really want to use this microcomposite VPOC as my stop, and to get short here just doesn't allow me to do that. This is certainly a potential short here. This is a second entry short off of a nice actually that's not a nice signal bar, but this is a second entry short. Okay, so now we're looking to see still, 1597 is not working with us right now, so we're not going to be. Let's see. This is a nice entry bar here. So you're coming up off the bottom, okay? You're coming up off the bottom. You get your first entry short. Here you get a second entry short, but it's not a great signal bar. After this bar closes, now you have a much better signal bar. So you really could have, and I guess I probably should have looked to be getting short here at 10, moving my scale. Like I said, my only problem with that trade would be at that point I'm no longer using VPOC, microcomposite VPOC as a point of stop. It would have to come down to the overnight low because I would have gotten in, let's just say 11 or 10, somewhere around here. Then I would have been looking to scale between that entry and overnight low, using overnight low as my stop. And just wasn't the trade I wanted to make. 610 divergence, 987 divergence, 1597 not yet in our favor. We're going to look to see what happens if we can get a push back up here, back up to this VPOC, and see if this low volume node continues to act as resistance, or we're just going to break, get down to this swing, yesterday's low that I'm watching. Remember, if ultimately we do get a setup, what do we got here? 93, 76, 50, 17 tick. Yeah, actually, we could scale that if we wanted to, but I don't. Because I wouldn't want it to stop here. Meaning, if I get into a long, if there's something that sets up as a long here, I'm going to get into a full position, tight stop below overnight low. Because if we do push down towards this area, now I'm looking to use all of these levels in a scaling opportunity. Okay, so might be a little too far from this VPOC down to this swing, but that is what I'm going to be looking for. Guys, give me 1 second. I'm going to put my microphone on mute. I'll be right back. All right, sorry about that. All right, so here we're getting the push up off of low of day. Now we do have to start watching up here. Now is what we were saying. So VPOC has shifted down. So we put a nice amount of volume in down here. We definitely want to see now. We do need to start watching this as a potential resistance now, because we have tested it. It held as resistance. We've made our push down. What I was saying earlier, if you remember, consolidation at the end of a large move, that type of consolidation in a lot of cases does show the potential for retracement. We haven't really seen that. We got 13 ticks back on a 67 tick move, so that's not a ton. Let's draw out our Fibonacci's one more time just to see what that ultimately equated to from a percentage standpoint. So we came down to here. So we didn't even get to the 23% retracement yet. So let's see what happens if we get a pushback up off of here. VWAP has shifted down, of course, along with the 21 EMA. Same thing holds true again. We have divergence on the 610, divergence on the 987. 1597 is starting to roll up. I wouldn't really consider that much divergence yet. But if we were to push down closer towards yesterday's low, we would lose. That 1597 would continue to point downward. So we don't really have enough of an upward sign there. If again, for those of you that would look at this and say, you know what, I'm happy with the 610 and the 987. Maybe I'm going to start trying to get long if we get a pullback to around here. This bottom here, this micro double bottom that we tested a couple of times, got below and came right back above. If you look at this and say, you're willing to start getting into a long here and maybe scale all the way down to overnight low. I'm going to say yesterday low. That certainly is something that you can look at and potentially trade off of. Not what I'm looking for. Okay, we're coming back up towards this low volume node here. Let's see how this gets treated. Actually, I have to reload one of my charts. This might make it disappear for a second. Sorry if it does. All right, push through. Nice. One of the charts was just not showing accurately. Probably could have done that at a better time, but it's okay. Oh, come on. certainly wasn't expecting it to take this freaking long. It's only a couple of days worth of data. There we go. Come on now. All right. So once again, we're going to start watching. So far, it looks like we just missed our entry by a couple ticks. We are also going to start watching for decent entry candles here. This one's not bad, but not great. We just started this candle. You can see we have 518 ticks left, 515. That's what that counter's telling us. How many ticks before that candle closes? That's what I'd like to see. If we can get close to closing this candle, we have a little bit of a bearish close on the candle. We're going to look to potentially get into one of our trades, one of our contracts up here. I should say, up here compared to where we were down here, but ahead of where we were initially looking to wait for our first scale. I'd rather get scaled in right here. Just getting it ready. So that's not going to be an entry off that candle. We're still going to wait here. We're going to wait. $15.97 has now come up in divergence. So what we're really hoping to have happen here is a pullback, allowing us to start scaling into our trade and then of course turning down in our favor, and potentially now with a more confirmation off of that 15.97, potentially a push back down towards low of day and giving us a chance to close our trade and maybe even reverse, depending on what those BVs look like when we get down there, if we get down there. Well, here, the refreshing my chart didn't change shit, but all right. And again, I'm still looking for potentially the proper type of candle setup to get us into a trade here. Although right now, what I watch for, which would be a bit more of a push up with a candle closing downwards, would almost automatically get us into our first position. Meaning, we'd have to see a move up and then a candle close down, and then I would try to go short below that candle. That spike up would almost automatically get us into our first contract. So let's see if that happens. From a price action perspective, what I'm describing basically is a trap, a bear trap, where we get into consolidation, we make a quick push out of it, convinces people to get long at the breakout of this consolidation. That's what a lot of people look for. Is they look at something like this, they see this double top, and they say, okay, when we get above here, I'm looking to get long, and that's what I'm hoping happens here. I'm hoping that people do push it up just a couple more ticks, get me into my trade, into my first position, and then what happens is if they are if that is the case, if we get that push up and then we slow down because of resistance levels, now all those people that are long ultimately need to get out of their trade. And usually in a case like this, you would see stops below here, below this last point of consolidation. So we're going to take since we're only in one, we're going to put our profit target down here. What's current low? 53. We're going to come to 53.05. We're going to come a couple ticks above this micro double bottom here, right around VPOC. Now, really, with this trade, because of the idea that we're below microcomposite VPOC, because overnight low held, because we're talking about potentially getting a nice push down, I might even move this. In fact, I'm going to. Now, of course, I'm going to, if we do start making a move down where towards the current low of day, I will at some point adjust my stop price. I'm just kind of hanging out. That was this was a nice bearish candle. I would have liked to have seen continuation of that. Still may. That was a nice. See, like right there, this is something where you could potentially look at as further building your short position. I'm not going to right now. That's not what I'm doing in this as I'm developing my trading style. I'm not looking to scale in my favor. I'm looking to scale in for better price point. That there's a very good chance that will change. In fact, this is a perfect trade example where my profit target is so far away that if I get into a second contract, one of my profit targets will certainly be closer. I won't keep my profit target. Where am I at now? 40 ticks away. 22, 70, 80, 40, 41, 43 ticks away. If I get into a second contract, certainly I will put a profit target down here by the current low of the day. Now, all this, when I look at these BBs down here, 610, 987, 597, they're all shifting positive. So all this could change depending on how we make our push down, depending on what happens to those BBs at that point. All this could change. We might decide to go flat down here, meaning get out of our current trade. The reason I'm not just putting a profit target down there is because if we get a push, if this just gets pushed through, then I don't need to worry about it. Meaning, if price action just drives right through this, I don't need to worry about that. But if we get down into this area and we start seeing some support, we start seeing it hold again. At that point, we might even consider reversing our trade, going flat on our trade, reversing our trade, and then once again, we would start looking for whatever that next trade setup would be in our opinion. Let's see if we can't get below VWAP here and hold. Okay, so my stop has automatically moved to break even. I had adjusted the strategy yesterday to do that. I'm going to take that away. That's not what I want right now. This is setting up for a good chance to build on our position here. Breakout, pull back short. I am actually going to do that right now. So I'm going to get rid of this. Combine these. I'm going to move my stop much closer now. What has happened now is the trade where we were looking potentially, are we going to get all the way up here? 24 held. Okay, overnight low has held, and that's what we're now using as our resistance level. And I don't know if this will work out in my favor or not, but I am going to now, with this breakout down, breakout pullback, opportunity to get short, add in one more contract. I would even be willing to scale. I would even be willing to scale one more. Now I could be wrong here. I could be wrong about the way this is setting up. It could have been a much better thing to do, and we won't know till after the fact, of course. It could have been a much better thing to do to leave my scales on. You know, this might make one more push, leave my scales on till all the way up to this microcomposite VPOC and keep that as a resistance level. So that could be what happens here, but we're going to watch it and see. I really did like this strong bearish candle, breakout, pullback. I really like that as a good short opportunity, and see if this last bit of consolidation, overnight low, see if this holds as resistance. We now have a profit target, couple ticks off of this micro double bottom here, what's also currently value area low. We're a couple ticks above that. Okay, we're scaled in full. And I wonder if this is about to bite me in the ass. I wonder if I should have just left my orders as they were. Okay, so current entry price 53.20 when it's all averaged in. So what we're going to do is we're going to start spreading this out a little. Again, one profit target will be 2 ticks above value area low, right around VPOC. Next profit target is going to be just above yesterday's low. Third profit target is going to be above the next VPOC below us. And again, my reasoning for adding on here and doing it this way, which could ultimately be wrong, I don't know yet. My reasoning for it was we've created real nice divergence off of the bottom, push up, second push up, overnight low held as resistance, overnight low held as resistance again. We're not looking at divergence at that point. We're just looking at a price level. We had a strong bearish bar out of this consolidation with a pullback, giving us a chance to get a breakout pullback short. So we've added on to that position. We're no longer treating this as our area to use as our stop loss. We're now treating overnight low. So what we're going to see, and it's going to be just another good opportunity for us to learn from it, regardless of which way this goes. What we're going to look at is ultimately, how does this trade work out? Would we have been better off going with our safer scaling up to microcomposite VPOC, or did this entire setup, including the price action, including the hold of the overnight high, did this entire setup work out the way we're looking for it to work out now, which would of course be great. As we move down, we will see a shift in the BBs, and we are looking to get out of one position here since we have our full size. Now at this point, what I'd like to see happen, if we make a push down, I'd like to see that push down come to at least here, and I don't want the pullback to come back above VWAP. I really would like to see that. I really would like to see it get away from this channel towards the downside and just start drifting lower. What time is it? 9:40. Okay. Yeah, that's not enough. I want more. I want to see more than that. I want to see the price action start telling us that sellers are coming in, the buyers are going away. Another way to change this. I'm still getting bad data on one of these charts. It's not affecting what we're looking at, and for the most part, I probably shouldn't even be bothering with it. But let me see here. Let me see. Not crazy about that. What just happened there? Still nice bearish candles. Again, this could be a miniature breakout pullback short, but I'm not crazy about what just happened there. So still paying close attention. What's gonna happen? What's gonna happen if we can push down below? Really want to get below VWAP, come down to what's marked as here as S1. I'm just gonna pull this up for a second. Let's take a look. Let's take a look here. Yeah, I do. As far as profit targets are concerned, I do like the way that they're placed. Now my concern is I really don't like how long this is taking. But we have had a retracement, so let's take a look. And it's not that I'm going to talk myself into this trade or out of it. We're in the trade. I plan on staying in the trade, using this overnight low as resistance. But let me just show you. Let's take a look together, because I don't remember where this ends up being. We'll draw our Fibonacci's. We'll come from this high to this low now. And we've come back to 38%. 38% coincides exactly with the overnight high. Overnight low. So we've made a 30% retracement. Not huge. There's still room to retrace there. And from what I'm looking at now, there's we need to see some sellers step in here, because I like the idea. Remember, we talked about consolidation at the bottom, and this is exactly what happened. We came big move down, barely any retracement, came back to consolidate at the bottom. And remember, we talked about, as we consolidate, we're going to see those BBs push up, and that's going to give us the opportunity to get a push up and maybe an entry into a short. And we were able to do that. Now, we further entered our short when we started seeing price action confirm overnight high held here as resistance, overnight high held here as resistance. We pushed away breakout, pullback, got into a short right in the middle of this channel, because now this channel on the pullback, what we were looking for is this channel to now hold as resistance and then make its next push down. Let this start building up energy, but because we are still below overnight high, below microcomposite VPOC, with this channel forming the way it did, I looked at it as an opportunity to scale, not necessarily at better price, but at better price action, and that's exactly what's set up here. Now, whether or not that's going to work out, we're going to see. We still have to wait to see what happens there. Let me try something else. Still, that the bottom of this channel here. Sorry, let me get my crosshairs on. This little double bottom down here. I really, really want to see us get the fuck out of there. That's burning a hole in my ass right now, which is really unnecessary. I already got one. In the meantime, I'll start messing around on this other chart, just trying to get it to do what I want it to do. Man, has that tightened up. Mm. We came out of that channel. A pullback here to middle of this channel doesn't bother me. Okay, I just don't want it to make its way all the way back up. That would be my preference. Not that it really gives a shit what I want, but at least I could do, at least I could do is ask. Okay, so what looks like is going to end up happening is I'm going to end up having to leave here before this trade plays out one way or another. ES is pushing down. Come on, oil. Look at ES, oil. That's what you want to do. ES is almost down to yesterday's low. Follow through, oil. Follow through. still just sitting in this consolidation. Would have liked to have seen this push away at this point. Obviously we're not the only ones looking at overnight low as potential resistance after we broke below it. BBs are showing divergence with a slight rolling over now on the 610 and the 987. I don't think we're going to get enough of a push down, or I don't think the way the push down is going to happen is going to eliminate that divergence, which is why we have that first profit target in place. What I'm hoping is, we have zero lines right now being tested on the 610 and the 987. I'd like to see those hold as resistance on the BBs. But what I'm hoping is if we do get a push down to current low of day, really I'd like to see that push go a little further towards low of yesterday. And if we continue to show divergence there and we get another pullback, I would like to add to the position at that point. But I'm not going to be here long enough to do that. Okay, so we're at 10 ticks. And at this point, I am actually going to move my stop to break even. I'm not interested if this pushes up against back up to my entry level. I'm not interested in staying in this trade. I'm closing one contract up 12 ticks. One contract's out. We're up 12 ticks on that one. If not for the distance between these two levels here, I would consider reversing my trade if we test current low of day. I'm just very hesitant, very concerned with trying to get long, even all the way down to yesterday's low, trying to get long here, and then this spread, this 20 some odd, actually 18 ticks. I think I said this before too. I thought it was bigger than it is, so that's actually not horrible. But right now, BBs are turning down. Zero line has acted as resistance on both the 610 and 987. 1597 is starting to turn down. If this, as we push down, if we push down further, I am going to be paying attention. Although, man, I gotta go. I would be paying attention to see what happens if we can push down to this area here. I'm in a risk-free trade at this point. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to, let me just peek over here for a second. Just want to see if there's any abnormal size on the bid or the ask, and there's really not. Just a question if sellers can push this down further here. Test low of day. You can see the 610, 987 has rolled over, 1597 as well. Now again, I don't think that's enough to get us out of divergence as we push down. And I'm actually going to close my second one here up, 15 ticks, 14 ticks. And I'm going to put my third, I'm going to leave my third profit target where it is. And at this point, I'm going to bid you guys farewell. We're out of two. We're out of two of the contracts. We have one left on. Great trade for the morning. Very happy with it. We turned our attention into this overnight low as resistance. If you remember, when we came up to it, we held this resistance. We got into our first contract, it pulled away, breakout, pull back, gave us a second opportunity to get into another short. And when we saw that breakout pullback, that really did show us that we were coming out of this consolidation with some strength. We entered into our second contract here, but at that point we tightened up our stop to be a couple ticks. I think it was maybe 5 ticks above overnight low. Honestly, could have been closer. Had another move away, not as big a breakout, which did worry me. That's kind of where I started getting concerned. Another pullback to overnight low. Overnight low held again. We at this point we were already into all 3 of our contracts. There was no reason to scale in any further. We got out of 2 right around where we're trading now. One was 12 ticks, one was 14 ticks, and we now have our 3rd contract on that we're going to leave as a runner. I'm not going to be in front of the screen to adjust my shop to adjust my stop. I'm not going to be in front of the screen to adjust my stop. So if it comes back, stops me at a break even, so be it. That I will live with that, and we'll take a nice winning trade for the start of the day. All right, guys. I'm just going to wait to see here. That was a nice strong push up there off of this low. Perfect stop, perfect profit target. If you remember, one of our profit targets was 05, 2 ticks above this micro double bottom. Great profit target right there. All right, that's it for the morning. I will see you guys tomorrow. Have a great day.